Bryant's jockstrap. Get him out of here.
How does that not indicate to you, like, hey, sometimes, like, these prospects are awesome?
Donald, get back. They snatched that chain, boy. Get back. What's y'all gonna do about it? Popeye snatched that chain. Get back. We want that snack wrap. They got 3 flavors. Y'all got 1. Get back.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Pidone, Joey Pfaff, and he's back.
Wow, look at this guy.
And Rob Watson. Rob, what's up, dude? It's been way too long. How was Florida?
Florida was great. Got a little tan. Calmed down. Sat on the sand. Didn't watch any sports at all, so I got to get caught up. All my boys got to tell me what's been going on. But absolutely amazing. But nowhere else I'd rather be right now than back here in stew with the boys.
How are those Floridians doing these days?
No Florida man, like nothing crazy that I really saw, bro. I didn't run into anything insane. I did see an alligator on a walk. That was interesting. But
Do you guys think you could take an alligator? On land.
It was moving
on land.
kind of fast, bro. Like if you startled it, I don't know.
You just have to get
Are
in
they
a headlock.
amphibious?
You have to get in a headlock.
That's what I'm saying. But one good bite and now you lose a limb, so it's a risky thing.
You could
bro.
still win though.
Yeah,
if you
no
lose.
shot.
You don't
No
think so,
shot.
Nick?
Yeah.
Nick, you don't think you could take an alligator?
No way.
I think you can win,
I don't know.
but it's gonna like the cost to like win is gonna be bad. Like you'll be.
It is
forever
all
off it.
kind of in the snout. Like you've kind of got to focus on the snout is probably the most important thing. If you could take care of the snout and if you
Yeah.
could avoid getting bit, you probably hold a decent chance. But that's a big what if.
You
Like,
have-
I mean, those jaws just fly open. You know
You
what
gotta
I mean?
essentially get on its back,
You
and
gotta
then they
sneak-
can still
yeah.
roll. So then, like,
If
you're
they
gonna-
if they
it-
start rolling you over, you're fucked. That's
yeah,
good
like
night.
it's nasty.
You guys see how they were picking up the alligators for the alligator Alcatraz? They just had like pretty much like big claw machines just go down and scoop them up.
That's kind of tough.
That's sick.
That's kind of tough. Jack, what's up, dude?
Not too much, Ryan. I think me versus an alligator is probably like a coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb type scenario. So yeah, to be quite frank, no, Ryan, I don't think I could be an alligator in a fight, but I'm having a nice day and I hope you are too.
Thank you. Pfaff, could you take an alligator?
No, you would have to like hop on its back and then try to close its mouth, but I don't think I could do that.
How long is the average alligator?
6, 7 feet.
6, 7.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
Guys,
Stop.
you want to jump into the sports right now?
Yeah.
Let's hit it.
Slade Ciccone might be the best pitcher on our Cleveland Guardians. Guys, Cleveland sweeps out the Astros. They win 4-2 in the series finale. First inning, Martinez and Ramirez go back-to-back. But the story was Slade Ciccone. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Paul Sewald gets the save. Guardians 43-48. I'm saying there's a chance. It might not be a great one, Jack, but the Guardians are still alive as we're headed towards All-Star break.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was so excited to do the show today because I had all these stats ready to go. 4.5 games out. Your next 20 games are against teams who are under 500. Only 22 of your final 71 games come against teams who have a winning record. There's every reason to believe that you could back your way into a very, very bad American League final wildcard spot. Like, there's a bunch of okay teams sitting between you and that third spot. So I got excited, but then right as we're about to go on air, Nick hit me with a breaking news bomb that Jeff Passan said that we might trade Steven Kwan and Emmanuel Clase. So just when you start to get that hope again, that brings you right back down.
Yeah, this is a pivotal part of the season. And we've said that for really the entire month of July thus far, where they started off with a horrendous losing streak and now they've won 3 in a row. But what's nice about this situation that they find themselves in, you got 20 days here to figure out what you are. And if in the next 20 days you think that you could cling on to that last wild card spot and kind of stumble your way into the playoffs, like the Detroit Tigers did last year, then you're probably better off keeping Steven Kwan and Emmanuel Clase. And those are guys that if you feel like the organization needs to move into a different direction, you could trade this offseason. You could trade at the winter meetings. But man, would it be something if the Guardians took a page out of Detroit's playbook and got hot in the second half of the season and found their way to back right into the MLB postseason.
And especially too with them considering Jack Flaherty got moved at the deadline last year. So they're in the weird spot that like, well, they're arguably their best starting pitcher besides Tarek Skubal, like move on from him, send him out to the Dodgers. If they hold on to him, don't move him in the first place, I don't know if we're making an ALCS appearance last year, guys.
Also, Jack, too, there's something to be said about Stephen Vogt, I know we gave him a little bit of grief because in the post game you hear him talk and he sounds like he's managing like the 1998 Yankees, and like we've got a great team, we're confident in these guys. He loves this team and he loves these guys. There's something to be said though that maybe he truly does believe. Like look at the Los Angeles Dodgers right now, and I'm not trying to compare the Guardians to the Dodgers by any stretch of the imagination, but they're in a midst of a horrible slump. They are losers of 6 straight, far and away still the betting favorite to win the World Series.
Well, Guardians have one more series against the Chicago White Sox before we head to All-Star break, a 4-game series. They do have the chance to sweep. The White Sox are not very good, guys, but unfortunately, history will tell you the White Sox actually do play the Guardians kind of decently.
They do.
So it's not going to be an easy sweep, but if they do, they'll be 1 game behind 500 heading into All-Star break.
Could you imagine too, like you lose 10 in a row and then you rip off 7 straight going into the All-Star break? Like it would be the one thing that could get fans to feel really good about this baseball team, especially because just earlier this week we were feeling pretty bad about this.
That's because I wanted, Jack, you got to still sell me back in on this. When I hopped on the plane, we were on a 7-game losing streak, and then I'm around all Detroit Tigers fans the whole time I'm in Florida, and we get swept. I hop in here today, and you're telling me we're back. What's the deal?
Well, I think you just have to look at it on a very larger out of it scale. Yeah, you're 4.5 games out of it. Like what did we say yesterday on the show, Ryan? 5% chance to make the playoffs. So not like we're talking 6%. The 6% now maybe today. Not like we're saying, oh, this is a foregone conclusion. This team's a playoff baseball team. But you're already through the toughest part of your schedule at this point in the year. You haven't had your best starting pitcher based off talent. And honestly, you haven't had your second best starting pitcher yet based off of talent, because I do think in a world where, and again, this is a stretch, but a world where a healthy John Means is pitching baseball for the Cleveland Guardians, I think he probably can do more for you than Tanner Bibee does. Like, I genuinely do believe that. I think on the other side of it, you're going to get Chase DeLauder here very soon. I was listening to Nick a bit last night on 92.3, and he made some great points that, like, hey, you can't just expect we're going to call up all 3 of these kids, including Brito, who's hurt right now, and Kafis all at once, and they're going to change the offense around. Or we can move prospects and bring in 2 guys and change everything. But you're getting to the point where you have to make a move or something. So you're looking at a better roster against an easier schedule, competing for a spot where no one wants to take a stranglehold of it.
So you think that's the route, is they're going to call someone up. You don't want to see them make the trade, but you think eventually over time versus worse teams, the bats will wake up a little bit, hopefully. And then maybe we get Bieber back somewhere in there, and that's when we'll turn it around and maybe make a push at the wild card. That's the hope.
Yeah,
right
you got to hope. So there's nothing you can do to the roster of this team this year where I honestly would be comfortable saying you even get back to the ALCS. Like, I think, like, short of, like, you get Brian Reynolds from the Pirates, he comes in and returns to, like, a couple of years ago Brian Reynolds, I don't think there's really much of anything you could do. So yeah, to get into the playoffs, like I think I could still try and sell you on that. Like I think there's a chance this team could back into the last spot, like we talked about a little bit, and then hey, who knows? You could win a best 2 out of 3 series. That's the beauty of the AL wildcard round when you get down to this side of it.
Well, a sweep against the Chicago White Sox, as I mentioned. Right now, the Cleveland Guardians 4.5 games back from that final wildcard spot in the American League. A sweep, you could be right there, maybe half a game, probably more like 1.5 games back from the final wildcard spot. So things could get interesting before the All-Star break. But speaking of the All-Star game, Jose Ramirez will not be participating in All-Star activities in Atlanta. Want to focus on his health instead. I think that's a good move for Jose. And maybe that signals he's really ready for a second-half push and believes in this team.
Yeah, I mean, he's not effing around, let's be honest, right? I mean, even if there's no sense of urgency from anyone who could do anything to help put things in his control, he has that sense of urgency. He's 32 years old. He wants to go get a ring. He knows that he only has so many years of his prime left, and he's just like probably one of the toughest sons of bitches in the world, guys. I mean, he's battling 3 separate injuries right now so far this season that he's gone down, like different parts of his body. Like, you know, not like just like a lingering elbow that keeps coming back or something. Like, this guy's a warrior. He's been on a crazy stretch right now. I know he was slumping for a little bit during that losing streak, but guys, how lucky are we to just watch Jose Ramirez play baseball every single day? It might be the coolest thing we ever get to do as baseball fans in our life.
Oh, it's quite literally one of the only reasons to watch the Guardians, if I'm being honest, is Jose Ramirez.
It is. Like, I'm sure we all kind of do the same thing. You sit there at night, you work on whatever stuff you have left from the day, and you look up when Jose's on the screen. That's what happens.
You know, bro. What All-Star event are we most looking forward to, guys? Is it the Home Run Derby?
I mean, it ain't the Futures game, so I got to think it's the home run derby. I miss the old format, though. I don't know if you guys want to get into that at all, but do you guys remember when it was 10 outs instead of the 3-minute timer?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was infinitely better than the current home run derby format. And just watching Josh Hamilton go 18 swings in a row without missing one because you have to. Coolest thing ever.
All right. Well, let's take a break, guys. When we get back on the Big Factor, Rob Manfred pushing for an MLB salary cap. Jack, you said they're headed towards a 47-year lockout. I sure hope not, but you never know. We'll be right back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Joey Pfaff, Nick Padone, Rob Watson is back from Florida, and our friends at Fairway Ford never left us, and they never will. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state of Ohio. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. Employee pricing for everybody. You pay less than what they pay. That's pre-tariff pricing on all Fords. Over 500 vehicles in stock. There's never been a better time to buy. There's never been a better time to go to Canfield, check it out, and find your dream vehicle and save thousands of dollars while you're doing it. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and same hometown level of service. Scan that QR code now or go give their website a visit, fairwayfordohio.com. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Jack, we could be headed towards a lockout in the MLB. There obviously is no salary cap. Rob Manfred is pushing for one, but that would cause a whole lot of problems because, well, there's contracts right now, and it's very hard to break those contracts and figure out a salary cap and make it all work for all 30 teams. Jack, if we do get to a lockout in baseball,
I'll be pissed.
Thanks for answering my question.
I mean, man, it's just might as well add the Savannah Bananas as the 31st team while we're at it. Start guys on third base every single inning. Fireworks during day games. It's just so stupid. He's so out of touch. He's done some very good things. He might have saved the sport of baseball by making the pitch clock a thing because we all have TikTok attention spans and we can't sit down for 3.5 hours to watch baseball. I get that. The bases are bigger, yada, yada, yada. We finally got the A's the hell out of Oakland. He's done some good things, but this just makes no sense, guys. It would never even happen in the first place. Rob, we talked about it during the break, but what are you going to do? Just and Nick, you put out a tweet with a very similar sentiment to it last night. What are we going to do? Just cancel out the current contracts that have money deferred until 2087?
That's the part of this that I really don't get is and it's the part that makes the lockout really real. Because I do think both sides have a point. I think Rob Manfred has a point that, yeah, the MLB salaries have gotten a little bit out of control. It definitely disadvantages small market teams. Case in point, what we live through here in Cleveland, what Pittsburgh goes through. But the MLBPA is never going to go for that because it limits what players can earn. You've got guys like Paul Skeens that literally have unlimited money at their disposal. Once he's ready for his contract extension, like generational wealth could be messed with because of a salary cap. But the crux of it is I don't understand how they're going to work out the contracts that are already in place. The Dodgers seriously have deferred money into the 2030s. Right now we're in 2026. So how are we going to defer contract? That's the part of it that I can't wrap my head around. We're getting ready to enter the 2026 season. They have contracts that are going to go literally until about 2040. How are you going to institute a salary cap for a team that's going to be over that salary cap a decade from now?
I can tell you the exact crux of the issue is that there's 30 owners in the MLB, and they can all well afford to own a Major League Baseball team and sign the players they want to and do this and that. But like 18 of them just cry poor and don't spend any money to some extent. Obviously, we are way worse than most of the rest of them. And instead of just like being honest with ourselves and just doing what the big markets want to do, they're going to try and play to the little guys to save every TV dollar or whatever for the league. Because at the end of the day, it's just like it's about making money. It's not about putting out a winning baseball team. So I think what would make a billion times more sense, which like, not that this is an original thought, it's been on the internet for a billion years, you have to go floor. You just have to go salary cap floor and force these cheap-ass owners to spend more money. Like that's the way you have to do it. But my real thought for you guys, because Nick, I think you brought up a great point. This kind of turned this in my head for some reason. Do you think, in terms of like these contracts getting outlandish, is it crazier that Paul Skeens might earn like $850 million in his baseball career, which just sounds like a mind-boggling number? Like you could purchase a franchise with that money, or that Austin Hedges makes $4 million a year to play baseball? Like what is more insane?
That's a good question. I mean,
that is a good question.
It's
I would say
Skeens making
Skeens.
$850 million because that gap is just insurmountable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Paul Skeens, right now, you could make an argument is the best pitcher in baseball.
Do you see his WAR is higher than his win total?
See, the thing, like Paul
That's how bad the
Skeens,
Pirates are.
Paul Skeens, and I'm gonna mix up the number, but I'm paraphrasing. It's along the same lines. Is like Paul Skeens in his last 10 starts, right? I think he's like 2-8, and he has a lower ERA than Tarek Skubal, who in that span is like 9-0.
Exactly.
It's absolutely nuts. It just goes to show how poor the Pirates are. But Paul Skeens is going to be the best pitcher in baseball for the next, barring injury, 7 years.
At least.
Like,
Might be
like-
15 years.
Like Paul Skeens is just absolutely filthy.
I don't know about you guys, but I think like even say there was a button they could hit that would solve every what if problem with this team's
We'd
going to
still
be paying
suck.
someone 20. Yeah, I don't think this is something that's smart or would even work to me for just what I look at baseball is like trying to change the whole structure of how the game has been built for hundreds of years right now. I feel like regardless of, you cheer for a smaller market team, like I think that takes away from some of the stories that baseball can be at times. Like I've did a little bit. I've learned about, like how the, teams like Tampa Bay used to put together these like teams on shoestring deals and then they're going to the World Series putting together. Like I think that's big stories that are a part of it. And for the players, I mean, I agree that they should make as much money as owners are willing to pay. If owners aren't going broke, they should do whatever they want. Like they're not as cheap as the NFL owners where they're like, always worried about we're going to pay the guy, then he gets injured. We wasted our money. I think if you are the best player, like a Skeens you were talking about, and they want to pay you $900 million, then so be it, bro. That's on them. They made that decision. So
I think the other thing too with it that like I don't know, I can't totally get behind why they'd want to do that, Rob. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like I think if you're, I don't know. Actually, I just totally lost where I was going with that. Joey, what say you? What say you? I lost my train of thought. What
just
say you?
happened there? What just happened there?
I don't know where you're at.
What? I
Did you have a
totally
brain glitch?
I was mid. I was
what
mid.
the hell
That's
was
started
that?
playing my glitch.
like, Real Madrid's always going to be able to throw bread at whoever.
Right.
But the small teams with the right scouting and talent, regardless of who owns it, not making
Oh,
enough
I got
money, like you could build it up and you could get a good team. Like it's just, it is what it is. But people want to see those big brands be good. It's good for the sport.
Oh, no doubt.
I thought of it now. You're right. What I was going to say to build off of what you were saying is that with the salary cap in baseball, like it wouldn't be possible also because like the pure amount of roster movement you have to do over 162 games and like 26 guys, you're moving pitchers constantly. Like you couldn't like match salaries and trades or like find like it would be way too much match. It wouldn't be possible. It'd have to be so high where it wouldn't even matter for half the teams anyways,
That's,
right?
It's too complicated. It's evolved from whatever it was back in the day when maybe, I don't know, there were less pitchers. You didn't carry. It was like, you had your set 11 people and you just kind of strolled out there and played. Like it's just not something I think you could implement realistically just at any point with where it is now.
All right, let's take another break. When we get back, we'll flip it over to football. Seth Walder graded all 32 NFL teams and gave their offseason moves a grade. We'll tell you what he gave the Browns when we get back on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, Joey Pfaff. We're going over NFL offseason grades. Seth Walder graded all 32 teams on their offseason move, but I'm going to give Garage Beer an A+ always. Garage Beer comes in just 2 flavors, Classic Light Lager as well as that Classic Lime. No frills, no bitterness, no IPAs. It's just beer the way you want it to taste, and that's beer-flavored beer. Scan that QR code or go give their website a visit, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. Again, that's drinkgaragebeer.com. All right, guys, Seth Walder from ESPN graded all 32 NFL teams on their offseason moves, gave them a grade F through A. The Cleveland Browns, drum roll please, a B+. Not bad for our Cleveland Browns. Their biggest move, trading down from number 2 to number 5, passing on Travis Hunter, drafting Mason Graham, and collecting Jacksonville's first-round pick next season. Move he disliked the most from our Cleveland Browns was extending Myles Garrett. He writes, the Deshaun Watson era in Cleveland is almost certainly over, and the Browns entered this offseason as a rebuilding team in need of a quarterback. He liked the Browns taking cheap swings on Tevin Jenkins and Cornelius Lucas. He liked the deal that they gave to defensive tackle Malik Collins on a 2-year, $20 million deal. I agree. I think that's an underrated move. But he criticizes Myles Garrett's extension, saying they're not in a win-now mode, and they could have gotten more assets 2026, 2027, and beyond. B+ is pretty fine for me. I thought they had a solid draft. I vehemently disagree with the Myles Garrett thing. Myles Garrett is the best player this franchise have ever had, minus maybe Jim Brown. And I wasn't there to watch them, but Myles Garrett isn't just the best defensive player in football. He single-handedly wins you games. I go back to that Indianapolis Colts game, like jumping over the line. Just he is the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The most
Impactful.
But you have to, like, the most game plan for player in the NFL when it comes to opposing teams. Myles Garrett, what he does is just so tremendous. And if you trade Myles Garrett, I know you're not in a, quote, win-now mode, but what does that say? We've seen such quick turnarounds just in the last couple of years. C.J. Stroud, I know he took a sophomore slump, but brought him to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and Jaden Daniels almost going to the Super Bowl. Like, it doesn't take much. It truly just does take a quarterback, and obviously you need pieces around. You need a good defense. The Browns' offensive line needs to stay healthy, but I disagree. I think signing Myles Garrett to that extension was the correct move for the Cleveland Browns. You still need a staple, and he's the best player in football right now. Like, the culture is one thing. I know Myles Garrett, you might question him as a leader, but when he steps in between the lines, you can't question how impactful he is.
Dude, and Ryan, here's the thing with that, right? Like, if they were to have traded Myles Garrett for 2 late first-round picks to a contender, he would have put that down as the move that he disliked the most. You know, because they would have been saying, well, you had a generational defensive end, you know, that has just won Defensive Player of the Year, like shifts the outcome of the game every time he steps foot on the field, and all you get from him is 2 late first-round picks. Like, that would have been the narrative then, so I'm not going to put too much stock into that. I will take the B+ grade, and I guess to his Myles Garrett point, I really think that, you know, there's been so much talk about the Browns are a rebuilding franchise, this, that, and the third. Like, if you look at this roster, this is not a rebuilding franchise. This is a franchise that's more so in the middle of the NFL. You know, you've got talent on this roster. The offensive line isn't that bad. There are some vets that you can lean on, and the young players look promising. The defensive line, same exact story. The defense as a whole should be in the top half of the league defensively this year. Jerry Jeudy's good. Njoku's good. You hope the rookie running back duo works. You're really just that quarterback away. And maybe it's one of these 4 dudes, but if it's not, you're sitting in a prime position next year to draft your rookie quarterback of the future that you're going to have on a 5-year deal in the first round of the NFL draft. Like, this isn't some long, drawn-out rebuild like what we went through with 1-31. I really think this year is kind of the retool year, throw some crap at the wall and see if any of it sticks. And if it doesn't, you go back to the well, and 2026, 2027 are when you could really go for it. Like, this isn't going to be some painful rebuild. I think those days are over.
I think you're totally right, Nick, too. And I think that's what Seth is missing in the article is I think when he wrote this or wrote that little excerpt or whatever about Myles, I think he's viewing it as the Browns' window of contention is in somewhere between 5 to 7 years from now. But I think you guys are totally right. Like, you have enough where you can, if you find the right quarterback, flip it around 2 years.
I think to play even a slight bit of devil's advocate to his point, even though I still think he's wrong, is if, say, we're somehow in the same spot in 2 years, then I see why you're like, we should have traded Miles and just cashed in at the time. But then if we're in the same spot in 2 years, we could just trade Miles then. It won't be a difference. Like, he'll still be a valuable asset to a contender. But I think the grade was okay. I was somewhere expecting like a C+, but I think we had a really good draft and we had some low-key signings. It'll come down to, if everything else looks good and we could really just have an identity to go into the next year with to make our last moves, use our hopefully 2 really high first-round picks, and then really just move forward into the next era of the franchise.
Yeah, I thought we were around a C+ as well, Rob. I'm still looking at our wide receiver room and, a little skeptical of that. But other than that, re-signing Myles Garrett was a must for us. Like, that's Myles Garrett. That's our guy. So I thought our draft was great. We'll take a B+, though.
Like, I know you can't just throw last year out the window. The results are the results. And the biggest thing to me was just the amount of mind-boggling penalties. And ultimately, that falls on Kevin Stefanski. Of course, it doesn't. If that happens again, then rightfully question him. Although he's had trouble with penalties ever since he got to Cleveland. And like I said, you can't throw away the season last year, but the offensive line was not healthy, guys. Nobody knew who the hell was going to be under center half the weeks we played football. Like, when you don't know who the hell your quarterback is going to be, like game planning and all that, it's tough. And I know the same's going to be for this year. Like, is it going to be Joe Flacco? Is it going to be Kenny Pickett? You're going to be benching him for these rookies. It's still going to be a shit show. But I feel like those guys that are going to be marching out, one, there's hope. When you were throwing out Deshaun Watson, there was no hope. When you were throwing out Jameis Winston, you knew what you were getting. You were getting a guy that was going to turn the ball over. And the similar thing with Joe Flacco. But I just feel like there's such a sense of just like a shower of rejuvenation to this team, just getting that whole Deshaun Watson thing behind you. You still have so many good pieces. Like, if DeJuan Jones can be your future left tackle, that's huge for this franchise. You have 2 young, fresh running backs to pair when you're going back to this West Coast 12-set heavy offense. I go back to when Kevin Stefanski was with Baker, and even you saw him win games with PJ Walker, and that if you could just run the football down their throats and play good defense, like, to me, that's at a bare minimum. You're going to be a middle of the pack team. And I believe in the talent, and I still believe in Kevin Stefanski. Like, this is the year you go back, and if it looks horrible, the offense is as stagnant as it was last year, then there's even more questions. I get that, but I really don't think that's going to be the case.
Ryan, you mentioned Deshaun Watson in there. I'm at the point now of the offseason where any other quarterback not named Deshaun Watson is going to be an improvement for the Browns as a whole. Yeah. How many times did we sit in the studio at Burke Lakefront Airport imploring the Browns to have a 200-yard passer? Deshaun wasn't able to do it. How many times were we ripping our hair out because the Browns offense couldn't manufacture 20 points on any given Sunday? They refused to score more than 20 points. I really think anybody outside of Deshaun Watson is going to give the Browns the best chance to win. We've spent so much time arguing who should be the week 1 starter, who will be the week 1 starter. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be addition by subtraction. The fact that it's going to be anybody other than Deshaun Watson is going to be a really good thing for this football team as a whole. Look at the defense too. The defense is a talented group. I'm not willing to say that this defense is bad or overrated because they took a small step back last year. I think the defense last year was exhausted, especially come the second half of games and the second half of season, because they were always on the field because the offense was just that inept. And you're exactly right. If things go that bad again, then we are probably having a really negative conversation about Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry and their futures in Cleveland. But the fact of the matter is, I've seen Kevin Stefanski make it work with pretty much every other quarterback other than Deshaun Watson. So there's reason for Browns fans to be optimistic heading into this year and beyond.
The way how putrid the Browns offense was last year, you could literally see it bleed into every aspect of the team. Yep. When the defense is on the field, every third 3 and out, like, you're gassed. You have to play so tight knowing you can't give up 2 touchdowns or you're going to lose the game. Like, that's not an easy mindset to go out there and play football with, especially when you're in a division with like Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, now what's going to be Aaron Rodgers. They have to play so tight. Just knowing that your offense can hopefully go out and average at least 20 points a game, that's going to make all the difference for the defense, in my opinion.
And Juan Thornhill won't be on the field.
That's a good
I'm
point.
happy with 6-11 or 7-10 football. I want it to look a certain way, and I want it to feel fresh. We've been 6-7, but it just needs to look different. And with the dark cloud away, over, and just gone, as long as someone's showing me hope. I really just need to see. I want an offensive superstar this year somehow. I need a running back 1,000 yards. I need Jerry Jeudy just continuing to be dominant. Like I just need to see something to cheer for. That's all.
I've got faith. I've got hope, dude. Like I've seen success with the Browns outside of Deshaun Watson. I've seen the impact that players have. Obviously, Myles Garrett, you're out without Nick Chubb, but a young running back room excites me. If your offensive line, the biggest thing is the offensive line staying healthy. That's really the biggest thing for the Browns, because if it doesn't, then the season's going to go sideways. But you signed Tevin Jenkins, Cornelius Lucas. I think that's obviously helpful. And then it comes back to DeJuan Jones, if he can stay healthy and be your future left tackle. I really have faith. Like I woke up today having the Browns at 7-10, Rob.
So you're feeling a little dangerous this morning, is what I'm getting.
I feel a little bit dangerous. I also had this thought last night. I was watching Baker Mayfield highlights for 45 minutes.
Yeah, that'll get you.
I'm getting ready to really hop on my Baker Mayfield for MVP agenda. Like if Baker Mayfield was on this Browns team, and this isn't me saying that Baker Mayfield, he had to leave to become what he was. That's a moot point. That's besides the fact. But if like, you put Baker Mayfield on this roster, the quarterback he is now, like the Browns are a playoff team by far.
Yeah. It almost makes you wish, man, like that things would have worked out differently, because we still are starved. That's the biggest what if for the Browns, is the quarterback thing. We're still looking for that quarterback. We're trying to figure out if any of these four guys could be it. If they're not it, then we're gonna go to the I can't wait for October, November. If things start looking bleak, like we're going to be firing up the mock draft simulators once again and debating quarterbacks in this town once again. But boy, man, it had things working out with Baker, it could have just put an end to all of this once and for all.
I love that too, because then we're probably looking at Travis Hunter on our roster and not Mason Graham, because then we're just worried about making sure the squad is set. We got playmakers, instead of saying, oh, we got to plug 18 holes because we know the quarterback is too risky to jump back up here, because then we're going to be putting ourselves even more behind the 8 ball for the next couple of seasons.
Like, why can't the Browns win week 1 against the Bengals? In all seriousness, if it's Joe Flacco going out there and you're scoring 25 points a game, why can't you beat the Bengals?
Probably.
If your defense,
Ryan giving us a why not us?
I'm being so serious.
30, probably it's going to be a high scoring game.
If the defense is legit, which I think it actually does have a chance to be, and you can go ahead and score 25, 30 points on the worst defense in NFL, why can't they start 1-0? Like, in all seriousness.
Now tell me why we're going to beat Baltimore week 2.
I mean, I'm not
Or
going to
Detroit or Green Bay.
I'm not going to go ahead and go that far, but I just think the Browns aren't that far behind.
Bengals probably overrated, but I've been telling you that I believe in the Steelers more than the Bengals, even though you really don't like them. But we always play them tight. It's a home game. I'll take it. Like if it's like we're like a plus 200 situation, we could make a parlay. Like you could sell me on it for sure. I don't hate it, but it's just like, it's always like you got to really upsell me on it. But that's just where we are as a team right now, and that's not a problem. But as long as you could. The hope keeps building so that upsell gets slighter and slighter each week, that you don't have to give me this pep talk, I'll be happy.
I will say, I'm calling it now. I'm calling it on July 10th. We will have a show bet that will include Browns money line come week 1. We will all be betting.
Probably gonna have it every week.
Well, yeah, I mean it's opening day. Like I'm okay with it.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Like overrated is fucking my opinion.
I just don't want to sell myself on like a plus like 300 to 400 to have us money line in there. You know what I mean? I want it to be believable, but not too much of a stretch. That's what I want.
I don't know. We got a long ways till the NFL season kicks off, but I absolutely can't wait. Like, I wish it was here tomorrow. I wish it was here yesterday, guys. All right, let's take our final break. When we get back, or maybe 2 more breaks if we want to do our draft. We'll see.
One more break.
All right, we're gonna break. When we get back, NBA released their cover athletes: Angel Reese, Carmelo Anthony, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factory on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan, Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson, and Joey Pfaff. NBA 2K26. Guys, it's crazy. It's already that time of the year. They released their cover athletes. We got this one right here. This is a Leave No Doubt edition. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Carmelo Anthony, and Angel Reese. On the original one, or the $60, $70 one, whichever it is, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Does this cover aura? Somebody tweeted out, it's hilarious. If you notice in this picture, ahead of Shai and behind Shai, that's Al Horford twice.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is so lazy, bro. Like
dude.
I
That's
saw
literally
a
Al
tweet-
Horford twice.
I
remember
saw a
the
tweet
days
about
when the
this
you
cover
wanna-
that's dead accurate. Growing up, the 2K covers used
was
to be
gonna
like
say.
poster art. You know,
You
like
wanna
you used to
hear
want to
aura?
put the 2K cover on your wall.
Google the
nobody's
2K10
nobody's
Kobe
hanging
cover.
that on the wall.
That's real aura. Real aura. Kevin Garnett back in the day, like 2K9, like people showing passion on there.
KD.
Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. I don't like the live action thing with the fade in the background and the laziness. They used to put much more effort into it as a whole.
Well, this Legends won the Superstar Edition. We
This
got
is
Carmelo.
tough.
Yes,
though. I like
it
this one. This
is.
is tough though. I like that they got the live
The King of
shot
New York.
with the celebration. I think this is the best cover by far, bro. By far. I mean, like I know people would do a meme buying one, but I think the Mellow one is
Rob, guess
the
what Ryan
classic.
hit me with before the show?
What he hit you with?
He and Ryan, please feel free to correct me because I don't want to misquote you
Sure.
at all. I believe it was, "Why the hell is Mello on the cover?" Was that the wording?
Oh, wow.
Or close
I was
enough to
curious.
the?
So it's because like you could only put everyone on the cover so many times, Ryan. So we're getting to a point where it's either needs to be new stars in the league like Shea, or you're dipping into different legends. There's already been a Kobe legend.
Should have
there's
been Bronny James,
a
bro.
Jordan. But Melo's a legend of the game, man. I mean, for people like me who grew up watching him in Denver and then his move to New York and just the icon of the game, like everyone hits this 3-point celebration.
Yeah,
still
but
to
Nick
this day,
Padone's
bro.
got more rings right now than Melo.
Oh, but we don't
Oh,
care.
chill out. No, I
But
don't.
We don't care. No, we don't care. Melo is like how the kids are gonna some kids talk about Paul George now for some reason is how all of us grew up about Melo.
Yeah.
But Melo was like really him though. Like he was really that guy. So I think he deserves his flowers and all. And he always gives his flowers back to the younger players. I like people who retire gracefully and give back to
It
the
should have
game.
been Hoodie Melo.
Do you guys
though.
think Spida or Evan Mobley be good enough to get on the cover one day? Think we'll see a Cavs cover sometime soon?
Donovan? No, just because one, he's kind of. I feel like if he was going to be on a cover,
Yeah, that time
Would've happened already?
time
Okay.
has passed. Mobley, sure, although is he is
Because
Mobley
has
ever
there been a Cav on the? Because when Kyrie was on, he went to the Celtics and they switched the cover. Right?
I don't think there's ever been a Cavalier on the cover.
LeBron?
I don't think there's a LeBron Cavs cover.
Bron's never,
Which
never
is-
been on the
Kyrie-
cover as a Cav.
The Heat, obviously. he
But
was
then
on.
he got
changed
he
it
got
and
traded. Then like
Yeah.
they might have released some
Get
copies of
traded.
that, but then they switched
then
it to
they
the Celtics jersey.
No, I do
Yep,
not
there it
think a
is.
Cavalier's ever been on there.
Yeah.
LeBron
Oh, wow.
had a 2K19 anniversary.
Ah,
but he
show
was a
me. Show the
Laker.
camera.
As a
bro.
Cav.
Well, this is a Celtic one.
Well, yeah,
but
he
then
switched. He was
I
a
got the
Cav.
I got
then
the
he left.
Cavs one here.
Luke
Before he
Gable-
went to the
Oh,
Oh yeah,
okay.
he was on a live cover.
Yeah, Luke Gable has reported that Kyrie Irving was on the cover of NBA Live 14. So that is the only Cav on a cover of a basketball video game.
Well, other news: the WNBA edition. Angel Reese is the cover athlete for this one. A lot of people. thought it was
Jack,
gonna
people
be on
were
the cover.
pissed about
Yeah,
that.
people were pissed about it.
I mean, it's gonna be our franchise player, so we should be excited because that's a future look at what we're gonna have in our town here soon. But I don't know why people are so mad about it. Like, I mean, is Caitlin Clark on the cover? No. Okay, I see why people are mad about it. Never mind.
No, this is genius by 2K
It
because
is.
they knew it was going to get people talking about
Yes.
it, and she's the most polarizing figure, and everyone's going to say why not, blah 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 blah, and then even people that are like just for the meme say they're going to go buy a cover in the store because they want the Angel Reese version. I think it was smart. You build up people talking about the game. 2K's been trash for a bunch of years now, but I saw people talking about it, so I'll give them their props for what they did. But
Is this cover aura though?
I mean,
Kind of the same thing.
It's
not
honestly
really.
it's slightly cooler than SGA's. I think they're both kind of ass though.
I would have had her grabbing a rebound. Like I would have had her. No, that's not even a joke, bro. I would have had her jumping over like 3 people to grab a rebound, bro. Like I feel like
That's
you know.
insane.
Was it her own rebound?
Is there a way?
See, that's
to,
what I'm saying. I wasn't taking it there. I was saying the best thing she is the
Yeah.
great rebounder. So I would have had her having a ferocious rebound, like a Dennis,
Ferocious
Dennis Rodman stance where she's like up in there, she just grabbed it, like you know what I'm saying. Like you don't know her for her drives to the basket. So I would have,
They call them me bounds.
you know, what I mean?
rebounds.
See, man.
I think the WNBA
Didn't
2K
she
cover
trademark
athletes
that?
have been obviously Angel Reese is on this latest one. I believe Sabrina Ionescu. I believe there was one with Suber, Diana Taurasi. Asia Wilson, and I think I'm
That's
missing.
valid.
And I think I'm missing one more
You probably
that I
do.
can't remember right
Not
now.
most of them.
Candace Parker's got to have
Candace
one.
Parker.
Yeah, I was
That
going to
was the
say
one.
Candace Parker's got to
That
have
was the
one.
one.
Yeah.
It was Candace Parker.
Her brother was on the Cavs.
So next year when Caitlyn actually like wins in the playoffs and they drop Caitlyn edition, everyone will be happy. Will we be good, bro? Will that be?
They're just waiting for her to get the championship trophy, so that can be the cover.
That's
They
just
want
so-
her with the hat and the
They'll
shirt.
be waiting
Yeah.
a really
There's so many
long
things I
time
could
for
care. I care more about than who's on the cover of the NBA 2K. I'll
Give
be
Melo
honest with
his
It is
props,
such
though. I
a
don't
dumb
like that, though.
argument. Like
Melo
this is the most July 10th topic in the history of sports talk.
you. Who's on the Madden cover? Saquon. That's
and
kind of
a
valid.
valid.
Yeah, going
that's valid.
backwards.
That's
And they
a
had
valid one.
Jeremiah and Ryan Williams on. The Madden
Yeah.
cover always does better though, but then there's a curse associated with.
Yeah.
There's not usually a 2K cover curse, but
Yeah.
Ryan, are you drafting Saquon this year?
So I pick number 4.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think I am going to draft
Will he be
Saquon.
there?
I'd rather have Bijan.
If he's there, are you taking Bijan or Saquon?
No, because
If he's
like by process of elimination, at that point, I could have Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Well, Jamar's going 101, so I think I'll take them
the
over.
the
think
running
Saquon's
back
going
when you're
101.
mid
No,
round
in a PPR league, hell no, Saquon's not going number
you
1.
like the running back
Those
because
running
you
backs
know
No
the draft is
RB.
gonna be
No
low,
RB.
and you're gonna get a good one, and then you're gonna probably have a mid like the hero RB type deal. But if you're
There's
up
so
there,
many
you go,
strategies
it's
you could go down.
Jefferson, Chase, and then it falls in after.
Just
that.
don't do 0 running back. That fails every time.
every time.
Big Play Fantasy League gonna feed families this fall.
It's gonna feed my rent.
We're
Is
gonna
what
put
it's
the
gonna do. Jack, do you want to do our draft?
What do you guys think? Do we have time? Do you guys want?
Or you want to
Doesn't
hold
matter
it
to
till
me.
tomorrow?
Ali and Soupy.
Yeah, we got time for tomorrow. We'll save it to
All
tomorrow.
right, we'll save it for tomorrow. All right, everybody, we're out of here. Huge thanks to Garage Beer. Huge thanks to Fairway Forward. We'll be back tomorrow. Same people, same time. Peace out.